Howdy, High Tides. I'm Jed Hoffman at Beach Film News. Start off this week's episode, I have two things. The first one being, I'm sorry for this week's episode coming out a few days late. There was a problem with Miss Pierce's house and it being fumigated. Now, the second thing I have to say is that I am back in Cape Cod, just like in the beginning of the year. I'm once again visiting my grandparents. Now, for real, the first segment of this week is the Elon Musk Neuralink.
Good morning, High Tides. Today, I'm going to be talking about something revolutionary, something that could really change our lives. I'm going to be talking about Elon Musk's Neuralink, aka computer chip for your brain. Musk has two goals for this device. The primary or short-term goal is to help people suffering from health conditions, and one of his secondary or long-term goals is to give humans the ability to save and replay memories. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But it's not. It is real technology that has the potential to change society. But before I go on and explain how the Neuralink can actually do this, let me just quickly explain the science behind it. The insertion of the Neuralink and how it stimulates the brain. So first off, the Neuralink is surgically implanted into the brain using a robot. It is implanted using a robot because the process of drilling a hole into the skull and inserting wires is too far complex for any human to do. Even the most skilled surgeon could not do this. Also, just to give you guys a quick visual, the wires are inserted are as thick as neurons and thinner than hair, so really thin. Once the Neuralink is successfully implanted into the brain, it is able to send and receive electrical signals that allow the brain to manipulate technology around it. To better demonstrate this, allow me to talk about Pager. Earlier this year, Musk tested out the Neuralink by having it implanted into a 9-year-old monkey named Pager. By the end of the study, Pager could manipulate a video game using only his mind. This has endless possibilities for us. If the result could be replicated on humans, Musk's Neuralink could drastically change the lives of many disabled people, but more specifically of people suffering from paralysis. Just imagine suddenly being able to text your friends to do things online without the help of anybody else. That'd be incredible. Moreover, Musk actually said that the Neuralink could even enable someone with paralysis to use a smartphone with their mind faster than using thumbs. So I know that the concept of Neuralink is a little crazy to some, but I think it's going to be an extremely important part of future healthcare and perhaps even everyday life. What do you guys think?
You know what else has microchips in them? Your pets. Here is a little piece about pet adoption.
Dogs are a man's best friend. We've heard it all our lives, and some of us passionately mean it. But when it comes to getting a dog or even a cat, it can be a tough process. Should you adopt? Should you buy from a breeder? A store? It's a complicated discussion, but that's why we're here to talk about it. There's nothing wrong with either of these decisions. Whether you adopt or buy, you're still taking in a cute animal that you now get to call family. But it's so important to be aware of what goes on behind the scenes and the different processes within both these methods. So, here are the facts. About 6.5 million animals enter U.S. shelters nationwide every year. About 3.3 million are dogs and 3.2 million are cats. Of those, about 1.5 million are euthanized due to overcrowding of shelters. This is actually an improvement compared to 2011 when there were 2.6 million animals being euthanized in U.S. animal shelters. Here's another reason. Most animals in shelters are up to date on their vaccinations and some are already even spayed or neutered. Not to mention, adoption fees can range from no money to a couple $100s. Some may even take donations, whereas buying a dog is usually 5 times as much. Clearly, there are many benefits when it comes to adopting. You'll not only save time and money, but you might even be saving a life. We told these statistics to a couple animal buyers and adopters and then asked them some questions about their process and their opinion on the topic.
Hi, my name is Alice. This is my cat. Her name is Michi.
Tell me a little bit about how you and your family got Michi.
In my family, we adopted Michi 6 months ago when she was only 2 months. We adopted her actually in the Humane Society in Miami. I think you should adopt like cats and dogs because like when you adopt them, you prevent them from like being in the streets and like suffering or like being on the hands of like, I don't know, random people, and even prevent euthanasia, because when they have like so many pets in the streets, they end up killing them.
Hey, my name is Adrian, and this is my dog Jackson.
So tell me a little bit about how you and your family got Jackson.
So my mom found this Instagram account named Miami Animal Rescue, which is a non-profit organization. They have all types of dogs and cats with all different breeds and sizes. So we went to the location anyway, and once as we saw Jackson, we knew he was the one.
So did you guys have to pay for Jackson?
No, so he already came with his shots and he was neutered, but since it was a non-profit organization, we gave a donation.
So what are your thoughts on dog adoption?
I think dog adoption is way better because you get to rescue and it's cheaper too.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Once again, no matter what method you used when getting your pet, all that matters is that you treat them with nothing but love and joy, because they are just as important as us humans.
You know what? Being back in Cape Cod reminds me of this year's history. But what about this week in history?
Good morning, High Tides. Let's get back to this week in history. To start this week's segment, on May 31st, 1859, the Big Ben rang over the House of Parliament in Westminster, London, England for the first time. To follow that, on June 1st, 1938, Superman, created by American writer Jerry Siegel and Canadian artist Joe Shuster, made his first appearance in the DC Comics Action Comic Series issue number 1, which sold for 10 cents. After that, on June 4th, 1984, Bruce Springsteen released his best-selling album Today, Born in the USA, which is one of my favorites. To conclude this week's shorter segment, on June 5th, 1956, Elvis Presley introduced his new single, Hound Dog, on The Milton Berle Show. Well, High Tides, that's it for this week in history. Make sure to check in for the next one, and I will see you later.
Now, it's time for what may be the last ever second opinion. Last week, we asked you, the viewer, how'd you do on your AP tests? The answer, pretty good. This week's question is pretty important. Did you guys like second opinion? Check that QR code, or scan the link in the description to answer that question. With Beach Film News, I've been Jed Hoffman.